Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Beyond Technical. Today we're going to be covering some really cool stuff. I thought before we get too into any kind of more specific Street Fighter V videos, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all the new stuff in Street Fighter V, because for a lot of new players it's a little bit confusing, and I thought I would just clear it up. Now, there is an old, like 2-3 years ago now, episode from Street Fighter IV called Everything Technical. Now that episode actually explains all of the terminology across pretty much every Street Fighter game ever, and it's still extremely applicable to Street Fighter V. So I'm not going to be redoing all of that work and explaining the same stuff a second time. If you want to go check out that video, please just head on to the Beyond Technical Videos page and head down to episode 2, Everything Technical. It's a 2-part video because back then I couldn't upload a video as long as I wanted to. That's how long ago it was made, but it is still extremely relevant. Basically, I talk about everything from how to read combo listings to just in general how the game works. Understanding and getting better at games, especially games like Street Fighter, is it's very critical to understand the actual systems in the game itself. So that video covers all that stuff. What we're going to cover today is all the new stuff that Street Fighter V has. So there's this whole new mechanic called VTrigger and VSkills and things like that. We're going to be talking about that, and I'm just going to do a quick special mention to a couple of things that Street Fighter V does a little bit differently than Street Fighter IV. So first things first, let's just, I guess, cover those real fast. So, let's take a look at Street Fighter instead of me. By the way, apologies for the webcam last time. Thing looks like it's sorted itself out. Anyways, a lot of attacks in this game are going to do gray chip damage on block. So if we can just get this to work here. All right, so if you see, we've got Ken set to block here, and the light normals are not doing anything. Oh, we're getting some of that fun old Street Fighter frame delay, but whatever. There it goes. It's gone. This is all in offline mode. It's a really great game. It's working totally fine. So anyways, what you'll see is if I hit Ken with a medium attack, suddenly there's this little gray bar that starts filling up on his health bar. That gray bar is called chip damage, and basically it means that if I can get away with continuously hitting you and you can keep on blocking, I have the ability now that if I can actually land an attack on you, it's going to hit for all that gray damage plus what the attack usually does. So that's a little bit different. In Street Fighter IV, usually only special attacks would do chip damage. The other really cool thing in Street Fighter V is that this chip damage cannot kill you. So if you are at 0 health and you block chip damage, you will not die to chip damage. The only exception to that rule is the critical art, aka the super in the game. Oops. Double whoops. There it is. All right. That ability will chip and do damage through chip and can kill you. So watch out for critical arts. That's why we have this cool stuff like Ryu's new parry and things like that to have some really awesome moments. I think they're really hoping for, there's a very famous scene called, I believe, Evo Moment 34, where Daigo is facing against Justin Wong and he uses Ryu's parry to a really crazy degree. If you've never seen that video, I highly suggest putting in YouTube Evo Moment 34. Anyways, back to what we're talking about today. Another cool thing with combos is that the one-frame link, crazy, crouch, stand, kick, whatever combos actually finally gone. So there are no more one-frame combos, at least that's the goal and attempt. As far as my research has shown, it worked pretty well. They've removed one-frame links. That's really fantastic news because that was a really hard thing to execute, and we really, as a person who tries to teach new players the game, it was extremely daunting to realize that you needed to land an ability in one frame. You only had one frame to push the button at a perfect time. They've actually completely removed that, so that's now gone. Everything's at least a 2-frame link, which, well, that still sounds pretty daunting, is much better than the 1-frame links. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, just because it's pretty different than Street Fighter IV, grabs work pretty much the same way. It's your light kick and light punch button, and you'll do a grab. The thing about Street Fighter V is that the grab range is absolutely tiny. You can see I'm going right through the middle of Ken here, and it's doing nothing. You can pretty much touch your feet together and you'll still miss. The way they've done grabs in Street Fighter V, at least for most grabs, there's a few special command grabs and things like that that don't follow this rule, but grabs are basically, your characters have to be pretty much touching. Your hitboxes need to be colliding. There's a little bit of leeway on that. It doesn't need to be literally inside their hitbox. You can be back a little bit. But you're going to notice that, like, well, it looks like grabs should be hitting, you're going to miss a lot of those, and that's just because of the way the grab boxes work in Street Fighter V. The grab boxes are further back on the character models than they were in Street Fighter IV, and the active hitbox is not as far forward. So just be aware, grabs are a little bit different. They're still very effective, just that every once in a while you'll miss a grab from right next to them and you're like, oh, come on, like really, seriously? I can't grab Ken, my hand's going through his back shoulder. I feel like that deserves a little bit of a special mention. Now, there's basically two new main features. You'll see this VTrigger blinking in the bottom left and the bottom right. You'll see that there are different sized bars as well. So let's just talk about that in general, and then we'll try to show off how it works. Pretty much your VTrigger is going to generate from your VSkill. Instead of having a focus attack like every character in Street Fighter 4 had, we now have a VSkill. You'll see with Ryu, he does a special little move here, and that's actually a parry. If somebody hits him while he's doing his parry, he actually can get a counter hit based off of that. It's a very, very powerful VSkill and really, really cool. You can use it in a lot of awesome ways, and there's some players far more skilled than I have that have really showcased how amazingly powerful this tool can be. Ken's VTrigger, or VSkill on the other hand, is actually to dash forward. It gives him his running kind of lunge kick, or a bunch of different options in terms of ways to extend his combos and things like that. Every character has a different VSkill, so I'm not going to cover all of them, I'm just going to talk about them in general. So your VSkill, medium punch, medium kick, and it does something cool. So always check every time you play a new character or you try out a character, push those medium punch, medium kicks, and see what happens. A lot of characters, they'll throw like a fireball. Cammy does her like jumping spin thing that she had from Street Fighter 4 as an ability. And generally they've given them really powerful moves. You'll see on Laura the few times, I'm not sure if I've gotten her in videos, but I've played her quite a bit, and she has like a short range dash forward or backwards. And if you hold the button, it then does an overhead kind of heel kick. So a lot of variance in these abilities. If you use these abilities successfully in a match, you will gain a lot of a VTrigger bar. The VTrigger bar will also fill up based on how much damage you've taken, so you'll always get a VTrigger in every round. Whether you use it or not is up to you. So the VTrigger is a really cool concept, so let's kind of go into that now. What you can do with the VTrigger is, once you've successfully got your bar filled up, and you see mine's blinking red and I have 2 bars, there's 2 things you can do with this. The first is to actually trigger the ability. Now, simply enough, you can just push heavy punch and heavy kick, and ta-da, the trigger turns on. You see it's now kind of counting down, and my fists are like kind of lightning-y. On Ryu, the main thing that's really cool about his VTrigger is he gets these fireballs. He can charge them up, and you see if Ken blocks it, it actually breaks his block and makes him stagger. So it's a really cool thing to have really super powerful fireballs, and generally the VTriggers are going to enhance the main way the character is kind of intended to be played. So every character gets a little bit of a benefit, whether it be just better frame data on their abilities, or sometimes it gives them entirely new actual skills. So 2 characters come to mention for that, just on their VTrigger. When you see them activate it, they'll deplete the whole bar and something cool will happen. Rashid will like summon a tornado that will slowly like walk towards you across the screen, and it goes pretty much floor to ceiling, so it's a really powerful zoning tool. And the other character that has a really cool VTrigger, I think, is Nash. Nash can actually use his to teleport. So he can like teleport behind you all of a sudden and then do a combo from there. So the VTrigger is a really powerful new tool. I love it. I think it's a million times better than focus attacks, and it gives a lot of variety to the characters because they can give kind of tune individual VSkills and VTriggers. So that's what a VSkill means, is to use your medium punch. A VTrigger means to use your heavy punches. Now the other thing that's notable about a VTrigger is you can use it to extend your combos and do more damage. So really simply, in the first video I made for Street Fighter 5, it's a how to play as a beginner Ryu character. So we're going to keep the VTrigger concept really simple as well. For Ryu, we just did this crouching heavy punch. Oh, let's probably turn off block so this will work. We did a crouching heavy punch, and then we canceled that into a Shoryuken, and that was kind of our one bread and butter combo. Does about 216 damage, not bad. What you can do with the VTrigger is when you use the activation, it actually kind of resets your data so you can use another ability or attack, and based on how far away you are from your opponent, that can be really strong. So we can simply do with that very simple combos, we can show a nice easy way to use the VTrigger and extend it. So if we do a heavy punch, VTrigger, heavy punch again, you see we can get off 2 heavy punches. So normally you can't just heavy punch, right? They're going to be able to block the second one, or it's not going to combo. You can tell it didn't combo because we don't have the number 2 hits flashing on the left-hand side of the screen. So what you can do with that is you can use that to, I guess, open up more combo opportunities, and there's a ton of information. It's very character specific. So again, we're not going to be getting into it in this particular video, but I do want you guys to know that that exists, okay? So you can use that to crouching heavy punch, VTrigger, crouching heavy punch again, and then you can cancel into whatever abilities or moves you want to do from there. The other thing you can do with a VTrigger, or your VTrigger bar, is you can do, it's called a VReversal. And what this is every character has a different set. Either it's 3 punches or 3 kicks, and you push your joystick towards the enemy while you're blocking. So we'll see if we can't get the computer to cooperate here and do some attacks on me. And, whoops. He's gonna throw me. We'll try to just show it off and then I'll talk about how it works. Oops. Come on. Alright. He's just gonna throw me probably again. Yep. So when someone's putting a lot of pressure on you and they're doing like a ton of normals, this is a really good ability. Shit. Goes for the overhead raise, I block low. And another throw. Alright, we're just gonna do a recording because I think that'll be better. Alright. Perfect. Alright, so now after we knock him down, he should punch us. There it is, that is a VReversal. So you see that during his punch, I'll try and do it one more time here so you guys can see. We'll block. So it kind of does this green flash and then it punches him off of us. So what that does, we're gonna turn that off now. What that does is it pushes somebody off of you. And what this is really cool about is a lot of characters in this game have shoryukens. Now the shoryuken is a really good get off of me button, but it's not super duper safe. VReversals aren't particularly safe either, but what it does is it gets the pressure off of you. So if you're in the corner and someone's just coming at you and they're hitting a ton of buttons and you can't figure out what to do, you just push. Sorry about the little blip in the video there, we just had a bit of a microphone malfunction halfway through the video. Anyways, what these VReversals do is they let you get the pressure off of you, and that's really, really powerful to get someone to kind of stop. If you're in the corner, you're feeling overly pressured, or you just kind of need some breathing room to stand up in the game, you can use that. Normals in this game are very, very powerful, and there's a lot of ways to kind of link and chain everything together. So it's a really nice tool to be able to just kind of shove someone off, and it always kind of throws them a little ways away from you, and it gives you the upper hand. So now they're on the ground and you have the opportunity. It does do some gray damage as well, so you can use that ability to try to gain an advantage and you know, hopefully turn the aggression into your favor. Usually in Street Fighter, it's better to be on the offensive, unless you have a health lead, in which case you can kind of force people to bait into the positioning you want on the screen. The other thing that's really cool, and I'm going to show you guys this in a match that I played online, but there's also a bit of a change in how they handle the aerial state. In Street Fighter 4, usually if someone was in the air and you punch them, they'd kind of do a backflip or something and then they're totally safe and fine the whole time. In Street Fighter 5, you can actually put them into a juggle state with almost every character, and the way you do that is with another thing called crush counters. So in Street Fighter 4, there was a way that you could get a better combo by landing a counter hit, and it would make some combos possible that weren't otherwise available to you. So what happens is if I'm swinging and you punch me mid-swing, my character would kind of go like, ugh, and fall back, and you'll see a little counter pop up. And that's still in Street Fighter 5. Most normal abilities have a counter trait attached to them. The crush counter is usually attached to the heavy attacks on your character. So when you land a heavy attack, you'll get this crush counter state. It'll make this big like glass crashing sound and they'll kind of like stumble really far back. So what you're gonna see right now is there's a clip of a match I was playing online where I utilized the two things I wanted to talk about simultaneously, and I thought it was perfect to show this off. So the guy is jumping in on me on Rashid and I land the crush counter hit. And then, because he's crush countered, he now counts as if he's in an aerial state. Now in Street Fighter 4, most characters didn't have any way to hit someone in an aerial state, and only very specific attacks could actually do that. In Street Fighter 5, most characters can at least do one thing to somebody who's in an aerial state, and that's to land a sweep. Sweeps are really bad in Street Fighter 5 because they're incredibly punishable, but they're also very strong in Street Fighter 5 because they can also kind of crush counter somebody down and give you a hard knockdown, and they can also hit characters that are in the air. Impossible! So I thought that was kind of a cool little clip. I hope you guys kind of enjoyed that and got an idea of how that works. Crush counters are, again, character specific for every ability, and they open up a ton of combo opportunities, but again, it's very positional based, and there's a lot of stuff to look up for that, and this is kind of a beginner's channel, so we're not going to get too in depth on how crush counters work. But if you want to go into the lab, you can set the CPU to attack you, and you can land crush counters, and you can do some really cool stuff with that. So that's, in a nutshell, all the new stuff in Street Fighter V that's pretty different from Street Fighter 4. I'm sure there's some minor tweaks and little things like that that I didn't cover, but that should get you kind of in most of the knowledge, or get you most of the knowledge that you need. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will hopefully be pumping out more stuff. I will say Street Fighter V has still been a very frustrating experience, as it has been just crashing, kicking me out of games. Everyone's been quitting, so I have not been playing as much as I would probably have liked to, but I do see the game slowly improving, so let's hope that more players keep on hopping on board and that these videos help you guys out. Again, my name is Matt, aka Skiar Rathbun, and this has been Beyond Technical. I'll catch you guys next time.